This is Brunch, Blaze, and Babble,
where we eat, elevate, and talk about
media trends from the past,
the present,
and the future
from a Black perspective.
I'm your host, Roger Turner.
And I'm your host, Alexus Bertrand.
So sit back,
spark up,
and let's get into it. Hey, Alexis.
Hey, Roger, baby.
It's so good to see you in the studio.
We in the studio, boo.
I haven't seen you in a minute.
I know. It has been.
Not in person.
It has been crazy. But I am so glad to be here. And thank you so much for just rolling with the the punches. And thank God for technology for helping us do what we got to do.
Absolutely. Well, we here.
We here.
We're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
How was your brunch?
My brunch is good. So listen, I'm kind of like in this consistent mode. So it is definitely going to be like a 2-egg scramble because, you know, daddy working on his summer body already. You know, got to get it in. So it was definitely like the 2 eggs, the toast. This time I had bacon and a little avocado. I was so proud of me.
Well, I did not have a salad.
Okay, I was about to ask you because you know you salading up to me, showing
out
on these damn
doing
episodes.
Some salads, and I did not.
What you do?
I went on right over there to Bed-Stuy Fish Fry and had me some good old soul food.
Yes. Did you have fish?
Actually, I had their fried chicken because I usually get the fish there, which is really good. But I hadn't had their fried chicken yet, and it was actually pretty good.
Shout out to Bed-Stuy Fish Fry, so good.
Several locations.
Okay.
How high are you?
I am at a nice state. I'm gonna say this is like at a 6, but this is like you still stoned, but you like super coherent. Like I'm feeling like I'm in a sweet spot. We'll see how the episode goes.
I was gonna say give it a minute.
We'll see how the episode goes, but I like my 6. I
was about to say give it a minute.
How you doing? How baked are you, baby?
Ooh, I am at a 6.5. I'm a 6.5, but I know, I'm gonna say about 10 minutes ago I was at 3. So
okay,
it's climbing.
So in about 10, okay, we'll see where we are in this episode. Where you at? Okay,
ticker talk. Okay. So what's our topic
okay? So
today?
Today's episode was inspired by. So lately, y'all, I've been collecting LPs again, right? And so I am a man of a certain age, and I remember when like all we could listen to were like, you're not going to do me up in the studio. We just got back here. Now, that's what we not going to do.
I'm playing. Go ahead.
Anyway, so remember when like LPs and like cassettes, that's all we could play. We didn't have like streaming. You couldn't just pick your songs or stuff like that.
Oh, my God. That's what it was like?
That's what it was like. So I had to listen to I just grew up listening to the entire project. Now, fast forward all these years, people putting out projects and they got a good song here or there, but the whole project isn't great. So what we decided to do is that I have charged Roger with coming up with a list of projects that you can play from start to finish without skipping nan track.
Not even one.
Not even one little moment. So today's episode is called No Skips Allowed, boo.
None.
And what we're going to do before he pulls back the curtain, right? So we're going to talk about our top 5 in order, y'all. Our top 5 no skip albums. I thought Roger was going to cuss me out when I like
5 for me, 5 for you.
5 for me, 5 for you.
Okay. All right. So we'll get there.
Okay, we'll get there. So that's what today's episode is about. Is our favorite projects that deserve to be played in their entirety.
No skips allowed. All right. Okay. So I think it's time to
pull back that curtain. What you got for us on the pullback, girl?
All right, so I think what we're basically, when people think of a No Skips Allowed album, basically what people are thinking about is a concept album.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. So I've been doing a little bit research on a concept album, and I don't know if you know that back in like 2022, I think it was.
Not that far.
Rolling Stone had put out a list of 50 of the best concept albums.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and it was a little bit controversial.
Well, actually, I did know this.
Yeah, people were like happy that certain people were on the list, but they were like, wait a minute, why is that person so far down the list? Like, Stevie Wonder is behind like I don't know, a bunch of folks like
Huh?
that
How
don't
do you?
need to
First
be
of all,
there.
no, it's just Stevie Wonder. First of all, stop.
Right, exactly.
It's Stevie Wonder.
That's the point.
He literally could make a whole album playing a harmonica and it'd be better than most of the stuff out there. Like, stop playing my
Exactly.
face.
So, so it was a bit controversial, but there are plenty of good hits that are on here. So I used that as a roadmap to stay away from the ones that I was picking. So I wasn't gonna say anything like Lemonade because Lemonade's on it. The Roots album is on there.
Okay, well, wait a minute now. Let's not be dropping names on here because, what if one of these is mine and I'm about to pass out?
Oh, okay. All right. So that's what I use that as a roadmap to kind of stay away from stuff because I was like, I want to give y'all something new y'all never heard of. So apparently the history of the concept album is that back in 1966, nope, that is wrong. 1966 is not the year. 1940. 1940 was considered the first concept album by Woody Guthrie called the Dust Bowl Ballads. And then following 1940, Frank Sinatra was like considered the next pioneer in concept albums. And then they started developing like blew up in like the 1950s and 60s. It started spreading through genres from rock and country to rock operas, the progressive country to R&B, so on and so forth.
Okay.
But yeah, that is, and the one important thing to understand is that even since 1940, and we're in 2024, there is still no unified agreement amongst music critics on what is the criteria for a concept album.
Wow. Okay, now that is interesting, even though we've been having them for 80-something years.
The basic definition is that an album that is unified in theme either by lyric, composition, or instrumental, blah, 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 blah. However, there is no real hey, this is the definition.
So maybe for us, for BBB, right, when we think of concept albums, it's a complete theme, a cohesive, consistent theme, whatever that theme is, from start to finish.
Well, I think for me, it's just, I don't want to turn it off.
Then how about that? We don't want to turn it off. I like that. Okay.
That is my criteria.
So they've been around for 80 years, y'all.
So I think we're ready to get into it.
We are ready to get into it. Now, before we get into it real quick, let's go back to that Beyonce thing you were bringing up. We got to disclaim y'all real quick. So, go ahead, disclaim the girls.
Listen, y'all know how I feel about Beyonce.
Okay.
You know how Alexus feels about Beyonce.
You know how I feel. You can meet me outside behind some Beyonce.
Beyonce's not on this list because y'all already know that everything Beyonce do for us is a no skip. So
like, stop playing.
We got it. I don't need to, you don't need to. You know how I feel about Stevie Wonder. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't,
because it's not fair. We can't put Beyonce and Stevie Wonder. It's just not fair to the people.
I'm gonna put these in there. I'm just gonna pull you some stuff. And we said across genres.
Yes, we did.
I have a couple of things from different genres.
I do too.
And we're just going to try to give you something that maybe you haven't heard, okay?
Exactly.
All right. Who's going first?
Okay, so I'm going to go first with my 5. Remember going to order. So my 5 up to 1. So 5. Number 5. I want to hit the people with Brandy Norwood's Never Say Never album.
I knew you was about to bring some Brandy.
I had to bring the vocal Bible up on her. Okay, so the thing is, and this was tough because this was literally her second. The thing I'll say about Never Say Never, even though I think a lot of people who are fans of Brandy will be like, the Full Moon album was their project.
I did love Full Moon.
And I did love me some Full Moon.
But Never Say Never.
What? It was the follow-up to the debut, which we were already in love with.
Because Never Say Never had The Boy's Mind on it, right?
What?
Yeah.
And it had, in the title song, Never Say Never, it had... it was just really well done because believe it or not, like, her voice is completely versatile. You had your jams. Matter of fact, let me look up this up real quick. And like I said, it was the follow-up. And sometimes the kiss of death for these artists is their sophomore follow-up. And if you can beat the sophomore slump, then you really have you've made it big. And Brandy, still being very much a young artist, right? And like, to do The Boy's Mind, which ended up being her biggest song with Monica, It was great. So Angel in Disguise, that was written by Joe. Boy Is Mine. Almost Doesn't Count. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I forgot about Almost Doesn't Count.
Have you ever, like, it was and that was a big crossover ballad for her with white people because they loved doing that stuff too. So I love all of these pieces from her. Put that on everything, which is like a B-side track. Check it out, y'all. It's a great one. So number 5 for me, Brandy's Never Say Never.
Okay, good. All right,
See, you can't hate too much. Now, what you got for number 5?
All right, so this is an album you may have never heard of. Now, I started listening to this album, I don't know. I think I've always heard this album playing as a child. I had an uncle that really loved it. I trained in African dance, so this music.
You better come on, train in African dance.
And I was a dancer with the African Modern Dance Company, so this music started coming back to me back and forth. So my number 5 album is Live with Fela Ransom Kuti, Africa 70, and Ginger Baker.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that name in forever. Where did you, come on now.
I love this album. And when the Broadway musical Fela came out, I was like, I know all this music. But if you don't know who Fela is, Fela was he was a Nigerian revolutionary, and Ginger Baker from the band Cream, which had Eric Clapton.
Come on now, history.
Traveled to Africa to learn.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
He traveled to Africa to learn African rhythms to join Fela Kuti for this album. So it was a live studio
Fela
album.
Kuti.
But I love this move. I love that album.
That is a gorgeous move. I love your number 5.
Okay, good.
I'm already living for you.
Come on, give me 4.
Okay, number 4. Number 4, I'm going straight hip hop. Old school hip hop. I'm going to hit you, I guess it's old school at this point. I'm going to hit you with Notorious B.I.G.'s Life After Death album.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I hear that.
Like in terms of just consistent, when I think about like 90s hip hop, he had a whole bunch of interludes in here. He was into the whole gangster / pimp / I don't care kind of phase. Again, the sophomore album, which would be his last, but the sophomore album to his smash debut was insane. It was perfect. It was perfectly themed. It's got, in case you don't remember, y'all, it's got Hypnotize in there. Kick in the door, wave in the 4-4. All you heard was Papa Don't Hit It Right that.
Yeah.
It's got I Love the Dough. He had some incredible artists on here. Angela Winbush to Jay-Z to Diddy, who we don't talk about too much more, right? Little Kim, right? Famous 10 Crack Commandments, Player Hater, Nasty Boy, Sky's the Limit, which is a really uplifting song of 112. Like this was really pulled together nice, and his voice is unmistakable. So in terms of like that gritty, right? Baby, in terms of that grit and like that style, it was clean from start to finish.
Absolutely.
So for those of you hip hop fans and you want to say you don't really listen to Biggie, you don't mess with him, you should mess with Life After Death.
Okay.
It's so good. Number 4, that's me. What you got? Because you already knocked me out with Fela.
All right. So you may know this one. You definitely gonna know this one. I jumped into now this is a completely different genre.
Where you jumping? Let me see where you jumping now.
Straight from Africa to a whole nother genre. All right, let's see if you can guess this. The album starts with the announcement, live from the Rialto Theater of the Performing Arts. It's James Hall and worship and praise. That's right. According to James Hall, chapter 3.
You put chapter 3 on here?
Oh, so gospel album, James Hall and worship and praise. It is, I am a product of Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn.
Come on now.
James Hall actually grew up in the church that I grew up in.
What?
Yeah. Like Brooklyn gospel sound actually comes from the church that I came from. And so, yeah, like.
His sound was gospel and it had funk in there and there was like grooves in there.
Yeah. I remember going to college and like everybody was listening to the album and I was like, I can't wait to get back home and hear them sing this live.
Yes. James, oh my God. You have masterful pick, James Hall, y'all.
Yeah.
Good choice, my friend.
Thank you. What's your number?
Number 3. So this is going to listen, y'all, brunches. Remember, we did not time this. I mean, we did not talk about our choices.
Not at all.
So my third choice is actually a gospel pick.
Oh, what you got?
My third choice actually comes from Kirk Franklin's New Nation, God's Property album.
Yeah.
Listen, I think this is one of the best captured youth choir gospel albums ever. Like it literally, like it has all of them. It has My Life Is in Your Hands, More Than I Can Bear, Up Above My Head, Love, A Word That Comes and Goes, But few people really know. Like all of that came from there. Like that whole kind of like ballad of like one voice. Kirk really honed that sound. And at the time, he was already big from his own personal stuff. For this one here, You Are the Only One. This is so great. The Storm Is Over and Stomp. Like this project was so good. And as a kid who loved, or a teenager who loved gospel music, this album pulled in everybody. Everywhere we went, everybody was singing the song.
This was that album that people could, like young people could actually have a good time listening to. It was like the gospel party album. I could still be in the church, but I could still be stoned.
Yes.
Let me get my head.
Let me get my head. Stop. Oh, baby.
Yeah. We don't. Yeah.
Didn't miss.
Yeah. So he is really the pioneer of, because remember back when Kirk was doing that stuff, I was like, this isn't gospel music.
This isn't gospel music. Nobody's going to, but as soon as this project came out, even conservative Baptist church was singing these songs.
Yeah. Like,
everybody wanted to do his music.
And everybody's new youth department was.
What? So when we think about the big ones now, like the Ty Tribbett's and the Jonathan Singletons, like they literally are running because Kirk walked that path.
That's true.
So God's Property is number 3 for me.
Okay.
What you got? No, you were number 3.
I'm my number 3. So we're shifting genres again.
Where you shifting to?
So we're in R&B. This album, I was going through a rough time in my life, and this album really just like held me together and cradled me and rocked me, and I listened to this album.
I am intrigued.
Over and over again from beginning to end, and it is Southern Hummingbird by Tweet.
Come on, I almost fell out my chair.
Smoking cigarettes.
There we go.
Yeah, that is Southern Hummingbird.
As a Western New Yorker, I love you for bringing in Tweet. She is one of Missy's, I think, underrated.
Yes.
And I think Southern Hummingbird is that underrated project. It is gorgeous R&B music.
Why did I want to say Taxi?
Because Cab Ride was in her follow-up, and it is such a popular song. But this is the one that had Oops. And this had, what's that one? I found a place, where we can boogie tonight. Yep. Like that was on there. And for those of you who are familiar with her work, and those of us who are our listeners who are from Western New York, that is very much our style. That is very much and she wrote the whole project.
Oh my God, Complain.
She has some ballads that will pull on your heart.
I remember listening to Complain in tears. Like that thing used to wear me.
What, and is it Hotel or Motel?
Motel.
Yep. Baby, Southern Hummingbird was are you about to maybe go play this right now and be in my feelings?
Okay, it will do that to you.
Okay, it will do that. Y'all, if you need an album to get in your feelings, play that one. Okay, so I'm about to jump too. So y'all, it's getting tough. We have the top 2.
This is your number 2. It was tight for me too. It was tight for me.
So what I did with number 2, I thought about like when I heard this project, I can still remember where I was at. It's like that's how big this was, and this was tough. So I'm going neo soul, and I'm going. How can I put this one out here?
Come on, give it to me.
I'm going to give it to you. So we're going to go with the debut and birth of Neo Soul, and that's Erykah Badu's Baduism. I'm taking it all the way back to the on and on and on and on. My stomach keeps moving like a rolling stone. Like literally. And she had intros in here. She had like little musical moments in between some of the songs that were just deep. And this album is heavily metaphorical. and it doesn't apologize for any of it. So even before we had the tagline or had the genre neo soul, she just came out swinging.
I was
Afrocentric, beautiful, melanin.
I was wrestling whether to put Erica on my list, and I was like, you know what, you're going to, because I wanted to put Erica's live album on my list.
Which, yes, I wrestled with about 3 of her projects. I was like, I don't know which one.
I wanted to put Erica's live album. I was wrestling with Jill's live album.
I was wrestling with Jill's first album.
Jill
like,
Scott's live album. And I was
rough.
like, you know what? That's okay. They get plenty of due. Everybody knows who Erica and Jill Scott is.
Yes.
That's all right. We'll go to some people that don't get as much due.
I just had to go with Erica because I'm like, she started this whole movement and made beautiful, artistic music. So Baduism. Now listen, y'all.
Thank you for that,
this is when your house is clean and you got your incense going, a little candles, a little sage. Put on Baduism. You'll think of Slater.
Or you can light something else up and listen to Badu.
Oh, that goes without saying, baby. You better light that all up. I didn't need you to light it everything. Light everything. So what you got for number 2? Because it's getting tough.
So number 2, you know what? She came to mind because she was just on Instagram recently and she's going through a hard time. She tried to cancel her Instagram. She's really struggling with like how she's dealing with the music industry. She's being treated terribly.
Is this who I think it is? It start with an L?
No, Ari Lennox.
No, I didn't know Ari was going through it like that.
Ari's been going through it. So Shea Butter, Ari Lennox.
That album
is my album. I don't understand why Ari has not had like a number 1. Like Ari has never had a number 1 hit in her career.
I don't understand.
And Ari is
kills it. Her voice, her vocals, her visuals. She looks amazing. Dripping, buttery, brown, melanated fabulousness.
My new apartment.
I don't get that. You know what? You know what she's reminding me of? She was reminding me of like the modern day, I hate to say it, India.Arie, who also never, like where Erica and Jill peaked. It's like India.Arie, she never got the due that I think she deserves. And I hope that doesn't happen to Ari because I think she's beautiful. I think she's classic. And I think her music is
and she's so
stellar.
Real and authentic. Yes. And I think
well written.
The part of it is that with anything that Black women are involved in, it's about anytime a Black woman puts down a boundary. Anytime
that's a whole nother conversation.
Puts down a boundary.
You ain't never lied.
She's considered difficult. So Ari, if you ain't listening to this, but
girl, if you is listening, somebody share this with her.
If I could send this energy out to you, Ari, we love you. We love your music, and I hope you are taking care of yourself wherever you are.
Yes.
All right.
Shea Butter, baby. We love you. Okay. So for my number one,
what you got?
I reached all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all, you can be mad at me. I don't even care. I'm going to hit you with the blueprint. The one who started it for me, right? Because Roger did tell us like this started back in the 40s. But I'm going to take you back to 89.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to hit you with the GOAT. Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, 1814 is literally a concept out. Like what you described, it is definitely a concept album. It's a social justice concept album. Everybody, and her, for context, her first 2 albums, that was actually her 4th album.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, Janet was social justice conscious at some point in her career.
Yes, she was.
Despite of what's going on with her
despite lately
now.
what she said recently, girl. Okay, but we're going to back up from that. But after the Control album, which finally her 3rd album blew up, everybody was like, girl, what's going to be the follow-up? And she was like, I want to talk about how we can save children and how we can educate them and not be homeless. They're like, what are you doing? That's not going to work. That's never going to work. And you want to do all this kind of militant stuff. And I tell you, the Rhythm Nation Project changed my life because if you watch this, you got an incredible, she did a film with this. And at that point, it was unheard of. So she had a film for every song on there. And instead of having intermissions, she called them interludes, which essentially either connected the song that just finished or and or set you up for the song that's coming into it. Yeah. And it was all of these iconic moments. So when you listen to somebody now like a Beyonce, or like a Ari, like somebody, like even like a Nicki Minaj, where they throw in these interludes, they got this from someone else.
Yeah, Rhythm Nation is definitely a no skip.
It is definitely a no skip. You can
definitely just sit there and listen to it track by
and
track.
There's not too many albums that I think you're a fave. I think she had, I don't want to make sure I got, she has 7 number 1 singles just from this one project, y'all, which is still historically like rare. Like beyond rare, ultra rare for her to do this. So even though she's mother now, she's saying some crazy ass, she's saying some crazy things. But in terms of like concept from start to finish, Rhythm Nation, 1814, Janet Jackson is my number 1 pick for no skips.
Okay, so my number 1 for no skips is a new album.
Okay, where we at?
And it is number 1 for me because it is the album that I am listening to like right now on repeat.
Who got you in a chokehold?
Over and over and over again. So there is this alternative like rock soul group called Infinity Song. They're brothers and sisters. There's 4 of them, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. Okay. And they have an album called Metamorphosis Complete.
Oh.
It is.
I'm writing this down right now.
Let me see. If the album feels like if Stevie Wonder and Stevie Nicks had a baby.
Oh my. Now that is saying something. Like,
it is very like smooth, laid back, like really rich tones. Their harmonies are great.
Okay.
It is. I listen, my husband and I have this album literally on repeat over and over and over again. But yeah.
I am into this. Okay, say it one more time for the people so we know what we need to pick up.
So the album is called Metamorphosis Complete by Infinity Song.
Infinity Song. Thank you. Okay, so there y'all have it, people. Those are our top 5.
Those are our top 5.
Okay, hopefully check some of those out. And before we get to the problematic fave, drop in the comments, y'all. Y'all know skips, because I know we got tons more that we could have chosen, but it was tough to come up with the top 5. So make sure you drop in the comments. Okay, problematic fave time.
Problematic fave time. Let's do it.
Okay, so mine's is quick.
Go ahead.
Y'all, Lauryn Hill. I look.
Oh, Lord.
Look. And here's what I'm going to say. I absolutely adore, because I remember where I was at when I first heard the Miseducation.
I do too.
I love this project. I will always love this project. The problem I'm having is how much weight we give her in this singular project against artists who have just continued to put out different projects, whether they've been commercial successes or not. Mm-hmm. And so I'm limited in my understanding of her versatility. Not to say that the album wasn't chocked full of her being versatile, but even with the projects that we named, those artists are doing that and more. Plus, I have grown tired of her relationship with her fans. In terms of how she chose to show up for concerts,
or not show up,
and be kind of unapologetic about it. I'm not saying that fandom doesn't need to be checked at times. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I need my sister to do better. And for this one album, baby, it's got to the point where I will just go home and play it on LP. I don't need to hear her do it live no more.
Absolutely
I'm over
not.
it.
Like the concert that just came out. I remember a couple of weeks before. I was with a friend and with a group of friends, and one of our friends was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get tickets to the Fugees reunion concert." We were like, "Don't do that to your life.
Don't do that to yourself.
Why would you do that?" She was like, "I have hope she'll show up." We were like, "Girl, don't buy that ticket."
Wyclef and Pras will be there.
I was like, "Girl, you will be sitting out there with Wyclef and Pras by yourself,
just looking."
And I was like, "There, she's not gonna be there." And she was like, "Oh, come on, guys, don't you know like
what happened?" Come on, Holy Ghost.
The day I saw her, the day they canceled the concert, she was like, "Oh, by the way, thank y'all for not for
girl, like I can't
not to buy that ticket." I have been to an outdoor concert in Brooklyn for Lauryn Hill, and we waited for her for not 1, not 2, not 3,
what?
but 5 hours.
Wait a minute, you were at that concert? I know that. I heard of that infamous ass concert. You were there at that one?
Yes, I was.
That's trash on
I was
ice.
out there waiting for her for hours. They turned off the park lights.
I heard all of this. I can't believe he was there. I can't do this. And then for her to then respond in the way that she is, like, I'm not missing you like that. So it's a mess. So she's my problematic fave. And so what I will replace her with.
What you got?
I will replace this project with Janelle Monáe's Art of Pleasure.
Ooh, I like it.
So, and I've seen Janelle Monáe once. I would like to see her again. And she gives an incredible, very clear, conceptual performance every time. And she's on time. And she's an artist that I think in many ways have had to check her audience behind how she wants to continue to show up. Because if you think about all of her work, she kind of changes it up every time. And she's like, I'm done apologizing for it. So I love Janelle Monáe. I love all of her projects. But in terms of the Art of Pleasure, I think it should have blew up bigger than it did. It's very sensual. It's very beautiful. It's very queer. And it's just gorgeous, gorgeous musicality. So I love you, Lauren, but I'm going to put down the miseducation until either you get it together, but y'all go check out that Art of Pleasure.
Yeah, so mine is going to be quick. So I remember growing up and everybody listened to this over and over and over again, and I felt like it was trash when they were listening to it.
Uh-oh.
And it's still trash now.
It's still trash now.
Even after we know everything we know about this artist. So, Trapped in the Closet, R. Kelly.
Oh, my God.
Do you know how people would just listen to this thing on repeat over and over again, like chapter after chapter after chapter?
Understand
and I
this
was
shit.
like, this sounds awful.
This sounds
like
toxic.
Why are we listening to this? And they were like, it just gets crazier and crazier. I was like, no, it becomes more and more problematic. This is awful. Why are we doing this?
Yes.
And, I told you I had my funeral for Robert's music a long time ago, and we don't listen to that anymore. So, I don't have to explain why.
No,
That's
but it was a mess.
phase.
But I remember but his songwriting, can we just say, is so heavy-handed. It's so misogynistic. I don't care how he smoothed it over on the beat. It's awful. It's not great. And I have nothing for him.
And listen, I'll give it to you. Yes, Robert Kelly was a talented artist. And he was very talented at grooming his audience for his mess.
No, you didn't say grooming.
He did. That's what he did with his music. Him, Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, all of them use their art to groom their audience.
Damn.
So you can put them all up there in the barrel together. I will give you that level of talent.
Who do you have to replace?
Because I'm not going to do another anybody else. But a very talented songwriter, very talented vocalist. She's also a producer. I will replace him with Jasmine Sullivan. Like,
come through.
Jasmine Sullivan, Hotels were everything.
It's still everything.
Hotels is still.
She sang every song on Hotels like the rent was past due about 45 days and she was about to get put out.
And then the interludes in between and through lines. The only reason it's not on my top 5 list is because I used the Rolling Stone 50 Best Concept Albums, and Hotels is on there. So
as it should be.
And so I was like, everybody knows about Hotels already. And she got that Grammy. So so I was like,
snaps
y'all
up
know
to
about it.
Yes.
So replace Robert with I like calling him Robert. You know why? What makes me think of the interview with Gayle King when he jumped up. She was like, Robert.
She was like, Robert.
And I was like, Gayle, you better talk to him like you somebody mama.
Not Kels. You're not R. Kelly today. You Robert. Sit down.
Robert. Robert. They can't hear you, Robert.
They can't. What are you doing, my friend?
And I was like, all right.
I love that.
I think that is our show for today.
I think that's our show, boo.
All right. What do you want to say to the folks?
I want to say, listen, enjoy your music and live your best life. So while you are out there, be good or be good at it.
And I want you to know, I want you to know that you are enough just as you are. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.